the Clippers are going to be a top 3, if not top 1 team in the West this season, and people have no idea. So no other team has made such moves as the Clippers, and even getting rid of Paul George last night, this is already a whole entire new team. I'm going to be going through each signing and tell you why this is already the best team in the West in the offseason so far. And first, we got the biggest and the most controversial one, which is obviously Kevin Porter Jr. It is your own opinion whether you think he should be on the team or not, or in the NBA. He was not guilty and free of all charges after his ex-girlfriend, who is now ironically with Jaylen Brown, came out and said that he was innocent. However, I've seen pictures of the state of how she was after the quote-unquote incident, and the look of her, it wasn't self-inflicted. That's all I'm going to say. But you can form your own opinion about that in case you weren't familiar with the situation. Back to the trade, though. This is huge for the Clippers if he is anything what he was just last year. I mean, he averaged 19 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds on 37% from 3, which is actually amazing considering what he was doing on the Rockets. He was sharing the rock with Jalen Green and Sengun. And I watched a lot of Rockets games, and trust me, that team under Silas was not good. This is going to be a secondary ball handler for James Harden, and in my opinion, he's way better than Russell Westbrook right now. Matter of fact, I think he's a good tier above the Jordan Poole / Austin Reeves tier, and is a great third scoring option as well. But next up, we have the first signing of the offseason, which was Derrick Jones Jr. We're basically paying him what we pay PJ Tucker this season, which is a huge win considering that this guy was a starter in the finals last month. He locked up Paul George in the playoffs and is probably one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA. His three-point percentage is improving at 34%, which is one of his best years in the regular season, and he shot in the playoffs 37% from 3 this year, which is really good. But that's not even what he was picked up for. He's an athletic two-way wing that is also a lob threat, and he's going to knock down the occasional 3. So next up, we have the Clippers legend himself returning on a $10 million deal, Nicholas Batum. Nicholas Batum's expectation at this age is just to play the Al Horford role as a veteran who can knock down 3s and defend the 4s. He shot 40% in the regular season and 41% in the playoffs, and if you remember, he was the best player on the Sixers in the game versus the play-in versus the Heat, and I think he can come in the game and average like 7 points a game as like the 8th option or something, and average like 20 minutes a game, which is all what he got picked up for, just a veteran leadership shooter and defend the 4s. But next up, we got Chris Dunn, who is a two-way gritty guard from the Utah Jazz. He is going to be a serious rotational minutes off the bench this season, or at least at the first 20 or so games. He's able to shoot 39.5% from 3 in the last 2 seasons with the Jazz. Obviously, he's older. He's turning 30 this year, or he's already 30, I should say. And the Jazz are trying to develop their young core, so he's used to playing the role over here. So this is going to be a very underrated signing, and I think he's going to honestly be like that 2021 Patrick Beverley role for the Clippers. Next, we got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mo Bamba. And this is not what I wanted as a backup center. It certainly isn't bad, though. I mean, ideally, I wanted the Clippers to get Marvin Bagley or Valanciunas before he got picked up. But this will do for now. I mean, last season, he only averaged 4 points on 49% from the field and 39% from 3 on like 1 attempt, which isn't bad shooting splits at all, but it's just not the ideal volume, especially when Embiid was injured, and he was on the Sixers. So I'm hoping that since Westbrook is still on the team, Lawrence Frank, the Clippers general manager, can put him, Powell, and Mann together for a scoring power forward, ideally. But for 5 years since Paul George signed on to this Clippers team, the point of attack defense has been lacking, and within days, they added Derrick Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn. I mean, this team's makeup has flipped with Paul George leaving, which is actually a good thing, because instead of focusing on another aging star, like how Jimmy was in the trade talks when the season first ended, they focused on making sure the Clippers had depth. And despite what Kevin Porter Jr. does off the court, he is a really great young hooper. I think he's only like 22 or 23. And his idol is also James Harden, so he'll get that for sure. We're going to act like these guys right here that you see aren't hoopers and aren't worth the Paul George trade, but Paul George just got outplayed by Josh Hart in the playoffs. I'm so serious when I say this. Paul George was offered to the Knicks, and for Josh Hart, and the Knicks said no. I mean, on paper, Paul George is one of the most skilled hoopers in NBA history. I mean, there's not one thing that he can't do, but he just doesn't excel at anything. I think his main weakness is his poor shot selection, much like Tobias Harris, which he does have those streaks where he'll get hot, but I mean, he'll shoot his team out of games, and we saw that in the playoffs versus the Mavs. He took the most shots on the team, averaged 3 less points than James Harden in these playoffs. Keep that in mind. We're not even 4 full days into the free agency, so they are definitely going to add more since Russell Westbrook is still on the team. And he wants to go to the Nuggets, and apparently Nikola Jokic is pushing for Westbrook to go to the Nuggets. So best case scenario, we somehow do a 3-team trade with that involving Grant Williams. I really like Grant Williams as a player. If not, though, I think this Clippers team is good where it's at. It has star power, shooting, defense, depth, scoring, playmaking, and of course, Zubac is actually surprisingly, statistically, one of the best rim protectors in the league. So we got interior defense now. So let me know what you guys think of this new Clippers. I'm on the fence about the Sixers' new addition so far, so I'll be talking about that tomorrow. But leave a like if you enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. And of course, until next time, peace.